Hey there. If you are working on your personal brand, one of the number one things you must have is photography. And that means professional photography and selfie personal photography, like stuff you take yourself with your phones, selfies. So there's a mixture and there's a way to do both that's going to be more helpful for you than not. So professional photography, super important. You definitely want to have that in your banking. You want to budget for that. Everyone can do professional photography. You just need to budget for it. And I highly recommend at least getting professional photography every 2 years. In a perfect world, once a year. In an even better world, every 6 months, because you change over time. Ladies in particular, your hair changes, your style changes. And the number one thing you'd want is for someone to meet you on the street and immediately be able to recognize you because your photos and your video and whatever content you do of yourself looks just like you online. That's what you want. You don't want to have an unbelievable representative of you running around and then disappoint people when they meet you in the street. They're going to be like, who are you? I don't know you. All right. So very, very important. Very, very important. All right, so thinking about professional photography. Oh, wait, let me introduce myself real fast. So I'm Andrea Thea John with the ADS Agency, here to bring you the very best of marketing branding tips, as well as business tips for those of you who are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and personal branders. Welcome, and thanks so much for being here. If you are watching this in real time, this is day 3 of the Hello Spring Challenge. And this spring 2023, we're chatting about personal branding and how can you best achieve your highest self personal brand this year. One of the things I really want you to concentrate on is photography. So make that top priority. If you don't have it already, plan for professional photography. I'm going to give you a couple tips on that, and then we'll go through some tips on selfies, how to do that, okay, in a better way. Because let's face it, not everyone is a little selfie expert, and a lot of people hate it. First thing I want to address is body image, and I have to do that for ladies in particular, men also. But really, ladies, we struggle with our body image the most for all the reasons you already know. I'm not going to tell you the reasons, you just already know them. But we struggle with body image, and here's what I'm going to tell you about that. Okay? It is what it is. And people see you in real life every day. And do they not still work with you? And do they not still rave about you and the results you're able to get them? And do they not still enjoy your company and time? And do they not still look forward to seeing you as you are in your real body today? Yes, they do. The problem with body image is here. We see ourselves, we want to see ourselves in a different place. We've put on weight, we've gotten older, our hair is not what we want, blah, blah, blah. Hair, ladies, is very, very important because especially those of you who may change up your styles so much, you are the number one people who need photography a lot. Get it a lot. When you change up your hair, you need to change up your photography. Sorry to tell you. So if you like change up your styles, you need to have photography that goes with that style. So if I see your LinkedIn profile and you've got braids with the top knot, I better find you in the street with those same braids. Because otherwise I'm not going to be able to recognize you. Hair is a big part of our identity. So keep it the same, or else keep your photography up to pace with your look. Okay. You can't just go drastically changing. Well, you can, and people do it. But the problem is they don't recognize you. They don't recognize you in the street because you look so drastically different. It's true. True. You can disagree with me if you want in the comments, but I'm telling you right now, it's true. So if you change up your hair a lot, you need to budget for that a lot. Budget for your photography like you budget for your hair, ladies. Okay. Go back to body image. So there's hair, there's the weight. Weight is the number one issue we have with photography. We don't want to get photography because we're afraid of the weight that we've put on. We don't like it. Obviously, no one wants to put on weight, and no one likes how they feel when they put on weight. But here's the thing, again, how people see you in the street is how they should see you online. And if you don't like it, here's what you do. You take the pictures now with your best self. The best self that you've got that people are going to meet you in the street as, that's what you give them today. Give them the best that you've got today. 6 months from now, work very hard. You want to take the weight off? I highly recommend E2M Family Fitness. They're not Family Fitness, but E2M, lots of families do it. E2M Fitness, I promise you, it's like all the right stuff you should do, lean proteins and blah, blah, blah. Basically eating very, very clean and fitness on top of that. So the fitness with eating clean, lots of water, all the right things, the cleanest fuel you can give your body with all the fitness. And if you do it, if you actually have the discipline to do it, you will whittle yourself down into a body goddess. I mean, you just will. So if you ever wanted something that really works, jump on a program like that, knock it out the park for 6 months, and guess what you can do to reward yourself? In addition to your new little wardrobe and your makeover and all that you do for yourself to reward yourself, you're going to go and get new photography in 6 months. That's your reward for the very hard work that you put in, and you do deserve it, and you need to budget for that too. Okay, so budget for the photography, but take those pictures today and you can celebrate that. That's something to celebrate. So if you drop 15, 20, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it is that you got to drop or you want to drop, whatever you do in 6 months, take another new photography shoot 6 months from now, and then you can celebrate the difference with people. Look at this amazingness in my life. Anybody who drops weight like that and they put in the work and people know you put in the work, it's a great transformation story because it's telling people I took control of my life. I'm taking control of my health. I can take care of me. And just like I can take care of me, I can take care of you. It's the message that you're giving the world through your physical body. All right. So that's what I got to say about body shaming and body image and all this. It is what it is. Give them the best that you've got right now. And then do it again in 6 months or a year, whatever you can afford. But I can tell you right now, like the photo shoots we tend to do, they're about $500 to $750 for a morning. That's a morning shoot. You go on the shoot, you take an outfit. You might have one outfit change. You can change out the accessories. You can throw a jacket on, a blazer, take it off, have some little accessories you mix out real fast. You can take some shots outside if it's nice, take some inside and all that. All right. And then what you want to get out of that shoot. Here's a couple things. You definitely want to get a good headshot. Obviously, you need a good headshot for your profile pictures and everything else. Media kits, if you're speaking and everything, you need a good headshot. But you also want to get some good lifestyle photography. So what I'm going to encourage you to do, the task for today, one thing is start looking for photographers. If you don't have a favorite, if you're in the Atlanta area, you're saved because you're going to use my photographer. If you don't already have one. But if you're not in the greater Atlanta area, you're not coming here, what you need to do is start researching photographers, and you need to look at their portfolios and see the types of images they have on display and see if you like the quality of their work. You can tell what you think is a quality photo. Do not just go by any old body's recommendation, because what some people think are good is not necessarily going to be what's going to take you to the next level. So if you're unsure, come to the A-listers group, drop your link to the photographer and say, hey, I just want to know what you guys think about this, and this photographer. We will give you that honest feedback, okay? If you yourself don't feel like you're qualified to judge. Okay, but if you know what quality photography looks like, you can go find the photographer. So make a list of your top photographers, go price them out, see what you can get, and know that it's possible to negotiate. Not that you want to haggle down a price, but you could say, okay, well, I see you've got a full day package. Is it possible to do a half day? If I only do it in one location, does that help the price? You're not saying, I don't think you're worth X amount. You're saying, can I readjust your package to try to get closer to my ideal budget? That's what you're very nicely professionally saying, okay? So it's workable. Do it. Go research some photographers, make a list, and then even interview your photographers, because you need to like their style of a personality as well. All right. So once you finally have your photographer, then I want you to think about your location. Very important. Where can you do a photo shoot? If they don't have a studio, because here's the thing, studio shots are wonderful. Your little gray background or whatever background you use, great, wonderful. But also, it's just nice to have some real life shots. We call this lifestyle photography. So the shots you see, think about some of the cutest influencer shots you've ever seen. people walking across the street with a big long stride, and they're in the not the passenger lane, but they're walking in the pedestrian crosswalk across the street. I mean, shots like that. You're sitting at the coffee table with your friends or your clients, and you're with your coffee and laughing and having a great time and enjoying each other's company, or you're on your computer by yourself and looking very serious, or on your phone, which means you're on, doing business, walking, talking, laughing, sitting, different poses. Poses are very important. A lot of people struggle with poses, and this is why this next assignment is very important for photography as well. So number one, go research your photographers. Number two, research your poses. Okay, so you're going to want to research the poses that you want. And to do this, you're going to use stuff like Pinterest. You want to keep a Pinterest board of headshots you like, lifestyle photography you like. This is very important because photographers are visual people, and they're not going to achieve your vision unless you show them what it is that you're really looking for. And that's important to have in your meetings when you finally meet with one of these 1 or 3 photographers you picked out. You want to be able to show them the vision, because they have to know whether or not they can achieve what you're looking for. And they'll be very honest with you. So if what you love are the beautiful glowy shots where your skin is popping and they got that fun foil stuff they use to bounce the light off your face, that's important. They might need an assistant that day to hold that stuff versus just them by themselves. These are the kinds of things that you don't necessarily know, but your photographer will know or should know, so that they can tell you honestly what it's going to take to achieve the vision that you want. All right, so having that Pinterest board of headshots and lifestyle shots that you like, keep a board like that. You can keep a folder on Dropbox or whatever. So as you see images, you scroll across the internet, you see a shot that you like. You're like, I need a shot like that for my website or my social media or whatever. Save it in a folder. Same thing for Instagram. Instagram still is king of photos. So you see a photo shoot there, someone has a really cool shot. Maybe they're an author and they just did a book launch and did a real cool photo shoot, and you see some image shots that you like, save it. You can hit that save button on Instagram, and you can even categorize those collections that you have now on Instagram. So you can say these are headshots or lifestyle shots or whatever. Okay, so you want to save inspiration photos so that when you meet with your photographer, you can show them those photos and they can help plan out how to do this, because the photos that you see are also going to help dictate the location that you go to, right? So you can't do a street scene without a street. And it probably needs to be a pretty cute street. And there's a difference between a cityscape street with high rises in the background versus there's construction cranes in the background versus it's a small town, feel good, small boutique cafe, neighborhood feel. That look and feel matters. Okay, so that's why you also need to pay attention to location, because it's going to dictate a lot about where you go. So thinking through location to yourself and also with your photographer is really going to help. And also knowing that if you got a tight morning shoot, for example, where you're trying to keep budget down, you have one morning, you can't be in one location on the south side of the city and then expect to go on the northeast side of the city within a span of 4 hours with outfit changes and everything else. The logistics of it does not work with changing out equipment and moving, and you're wasting time with your photographer driving and parking and all this. So it needs to be one location. If you want outside and inside shots, ideally that outside shot is right next to an indoor location where you know you can get good shots. That indoor location needs to have good background. So wherever you're at, is the decor lovely? Do they have good backdrops and areas where you can take good shots and you're not going to be overly interrupted with lots of traffic of people in the building and that kind of thing? These are all the kinds of things you have to help think about. Your photographer can help you do this. And then also you can use common sense and think about it too. Just think through, what is it going to be like to do that photo shoot where you're thinking about doing it? So location is very, very important. You got your photographer, you got your Pinterest boards, your Instagram boards, your folders for your inspiration photography. And then you got your location that you're going to choose and your budget's worked out and all that. That's what it takes to get your professional photography done. From there, styling and all that. I was trying to get you a stylist in this week. We're a little bit We don't have quite enough time to fit in a stylist, but I am going to bring you a stylist to chat with because it just makes all the difference. So if you know that you need help in the style department and you want someone to help style image you for this shoot, I highly recommend looking up a good wardrobe stylist in your area. Ladies, makeup for your shoot, hair and makeup. I don't have to tell you that, but someone needs to hear it out there. So that's why I'm telling you. Hair and makeup, get that lined up. It needs to be done. And it needs to be done in a way that's not going to make you late. It doesn't, again, think about logistics and where on side of town that you're trying to go to get hair and makeup done, blah, blah, blah. At a minimum, you never make your photographer have to wait on you because that's money. Time is money in photographer world, okay? So you do not want your photo shoot cut short because your makeup's not done and your artist was late or you were late getting through traffic, blah, 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 blah. Give yourself plenty of time. Plan this out well. All right. That's professional photography. I think I beat that horse to death, but those are all the big things. Let me just make sure. Oh, colors. Colors. So colors. I don't know if we have enough time to discuss colors, but think about if you have an existing color palette. This would apply more so for our entrepreneurs in the group who have businesses that have logos with your colors already picked out. You have an established color palette. Your attire should flow with that color palette. Okay, so my business colors are green. Andrew Thea John ADS. It's a green and white. Yeah, my little office is green and white because of that kind of look and feel. But the palette overall is cool colors. So can it work with a purple and a navy and such? Absolutely. What we don't want ever is small patterns. Small patterns are bad on video, especially, but photographers tend to not like small patterns. They tend to like solid colors a lot, especially if you have to ever do any photoshopping. Small patterns and stuff make it harder to work with. So they tend to gravitate towards solid colors. Solid colors are pretty classic for shoots. If you have suits, be very careful not to do those little skinny pinstripes. And that's another little small pattern you want to stay away from. Same thing, guys, especially for button-up shirts, those little small skinny stripes and small patterns, little checks and stuff. If they're tiny, ugh. If they're big, okay, maybe you can get away with that. But tiny little patterns, probably not the best. You also want to stay away from white. A lot of white can be hard because they have to do white balance and it's just harder. Videographers in particular don't really like white so much. But can it be done? Yes. It's just a little more difficult. I hope you don't hear my little dogs barking in the background, but sorry if you do. Okay, so on to the rest with colors. Basically, you just need to think about color palette. If you do not have a color palette yet, we do not have time to talk about that today, but leave it in the comments below and we'll talk about color if you need to pick out a color palette. But basically, you want to stick in the range of your color palette. If your color palette is warm colors, you can be warm or neutral. Or if you have cool colors, stay in the cool color palette. And then neutrals are always great. Neutral will always work with whatever your color palette is, especially if you ever happen to change up your color palette over time, okay? So if you're unsure, go with solid neutrals. Can't go wrong. All right, so next, let me see what else I got to share with you. I think that's it for professional photography. And then very quickly, stuff about personal photography, selfies and such. All right, just a few key tips here. I wish I could show and tell for you, but I'm on my phone, so it's kind of a little hard to do it with my phone, and I'm talking on my phone. But I'm going to pretend like this block is my phone, okay? So this is a little prop. Selfies, you always want to, number one thing about selfies is you always want to face the light. So you have a light source. Right now, I've got 2 light sources on me for this video. You want to face the light. If you don't face the light, then you end up with a light source behind you and everything becomes very dark. Everything becomes really dark. So always face the light. You want light on your face. You don't want light behind you because then you become a silhouette. Does that make sense? So this is very important with regards to daylight. You're thinking about daylight situations. You've got, even if you're inside, there's a daylight situation. I used to have a client who's got like this spa and they've got a big, huge window of daylight, floor to ceiling windows. And even on a dark day, a dark, cloudy day, that daylight is still more light than what's created with the lumens light in the room. Okay, so you're going to always want to face that light. In that case, you're going to face the window because the natural light is coming from the window. Okay, and so light always on your face. If there's competing light, the strongest light you want on your face. Okay, so that's number one about selfies. Light on you. Also, angles. I maybe just talk to the guys on this one, but some ladies need to hear this. Okay, so never take a shot from down here, like how you naturally hold your phone. Never look at your phone and just do a shot like that. Why? Because it's gonna look like this. Okay, you're gonna have the double chin going on. You're gonna look scrunchy. It's a fat angle. It's never a flattering angle for anyone. Okay, how my phone is positioned right now, even for this video, it's more like this angle, like eye level. Okay, so that is straight on, and you'll see a lot of people take their phone up like this for selfies, right? Why? Because it slims your face and you don't see all this double chinness, right? So take your phone from down here up and look up and put your eyes on your camera lens, okay? That's the same for video. Eyes looking into the camera lens as opposed to off to the side or at yourself. If you're looking at yourself, you actually look like you're not looking into the lens. Looking into the lens is connecting with people's eyes, even with photos. So try to look in the lens as much as possible with selfies. So face the light, look in the lens, angles, hold it up, okay? And then what else about selfies? The other thing is poses. This is very important about selfies. So today's phones have timers. If you have an iPhone, you got a timer. Androids have timers, so learn how to use a timer on your phone. And an easy way to do this is that you put your phone down with your timer on. Most have a 3-second or a 10-second timer. I put mine on a 10-second timer. And you can prop it up so that the angle's right. You want to play with the angle. But it could be propped up like back here. Straight on like that, right? On a desktop, or even on the ground if you're standing up and you're in a pinch and you have nothing to put it on. I have propped my phone up with a purse on the ground, with a water bottle on the ground, and propped my phone up. If you don't always have a tripod available for you to use. So you definitely want something that's, just gonna work. I've put phones on grocery store shelves just to get the right angle so that you get the shot that you want. Okay, and also keeping in mind lighting and all that good stuff. So use what you have around you to prop up your phone so that it's at the right angle, and use a timer. Okay, and that way you can stand away from your phone and get some full body shots. And now that is where you can get into poses. So when you're holding your phone on selfie mode, there's only so many poses you can do, right? I mean, you can use one hand and do stuff and show stuff or whatever, or show your friends in the background, but there's only, your arm will only go so far. Even if you use selfie stick, your arm will only go so far, right? But when you can do a timer and put your phone down somewhere at a proper angle, then you got some time to move back and do some different poses. So if you do not know how to pose, I will say, think about how you naturally pose, and that's going to be your go-to always, right? So if you can always do the I'm a little teacup pose. It's going to be a hand on the hip or something, or, there's lots of people who, I don't know why, but I can't stand up because I didn't put it on a whole full out. This is a Zoom outfit. There's a lot of people who put like this hand on their hip like this. And it's like, I don't know why, but it like accentuates your booty or something. I'm not really sure why people do that, but they do. But if you have a go-to pose that you do 90% of the time, Get rid of that pose. I mean, you can do it sometimes, but make it, instead of 90%, make it more like 10% or 20%. Okay. And make yourself find other flattering poses. And here's how you find them. So there are plenty of people you can go search and follow. Think of hashtags on Instagram, for example, like selfie pose tips, hashtag selfie pose tips. You can also search that on a place like Pinterest, selfie pose tips, and just scroll through. And this is another way that you can save to a Pinterest board or save onto Instagram in a collection and just save pose ideas, save posing ideas. Same thing like you did for professional photography. Those same poses, you want to think about them for selfies with a timer because you can recreate them. So I really should have put on a regular outfit for this, but I can't show you everything here, but just know that you can do, cross your legs, play with that, standing, sitting, crossing legs. Instead of crossing your legs like this, where they're like in X fashion, ladies, you can cross legs where they're both going the same way. Why? Because that elongates your body, it elongates your leg, it gives you a longer leg, and it just makes you look a little more elegant, right? If that's the look you're going for. Vibe will play a role in all of this. So, your vibe may dictate some different poses, but that's why it's important to save your inspiration shot. So when you're stuck trying to think of like, oh, what's a cool pose I can do besides my regular go-to pose, then you can remember, oh yeah, I saved some, look at them real quick and try a different pose. You're not going to be comfortable. It's not going to become your go-to right away when you're out and about. This is why it's important to just try one. So another homework assignment I'm going to give you to try. You don't have to try it this week, but try it within the next week after you've gotten some poses together. Just pick one new pose that you've not done before and try to capture it with a selfie with your timer. Okay? Try that. Just one new pose. Try it and let that become a new go-to pose that you have. Just one. After you get one, you can graduate and add on 3 or 4, and then you'll have a couple of ideas. So now, instead of just your one, you've got a couple others that you can try. I was just moving just to do something different, but that's not posted. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Professional photography, must have. Please budget for it. Lots of tips shared there. Selfies, I hope you got all the tips there of facing the light and different angles and things you can try, and how you can use the timer, and how you can prop up your phone using whatever you have at your disposal to prop up your phone. Okay, simple tips that will change the game for you. One last thing on selfies, please clean your lens. Clean your lens. Why? Ladies in particular, dudes too. If you got oily hands and an oily face, you're handling your phone all the time, you got makeup and stuff, that lens will get so greasy. And that's how you see those streaks down pictures, and it's like the glare of the white light streak down a picture. Grody, please just take a little napkin, wipe it, look at it. If it still looks streaky, you're gonna have to clean it for real. Like, go find a little Windex or something, a little alcohol wipe, even like something wet, you might try a little soap or something on a little paper towel and just wet and then dry it. Get that grease off. You got to, because it's going to kill your selfie game. Kill it. There's nothing I hate worse than greasy phones. Greasy phone pictures. Don't do it. Oh, it's grody. It's grody. All right. I'm officially done. My dogs are barking their head off because my hubby just came home, and that's what they do when he gets home, because he doesn't give them attention when he gets in the door. So they are barking like, come save me right now. All right, my dears. Thank you so much for tuning in for this day 3 of the Hello Spring Challenge. So glad to have you with me. If you are not already in the A-Listers Facebook group, please find us. It's A-Listers. Don't go to the A-Listers TikTok one. That's still there. But we are in the big A-Listers Facebook group. And we would love to have you there and say hello and welcome you in with any questions you might have about all the stuff about photography or personal branding, story, which we talked about yesterday, authenticity in social media, which we talked about Monday with Stacy. Tomorrow, we've got 2 awesome speakers. Michelle Glover, who's a career and purpose coach. We're talking about purpose and personal branding. And then in the evening, She's at noonday. In the evening at 6, we'll talk with my friend Tim Lewis with Stoneham Press, and he is an author and a travel guy. He loves traveling. His goal is like to get to 50 states, all 50 states, which is far more than I've done. And but the main thing is that he is an expert on books and self-publishing in particular. We're going to talk about the power of books. Maybe you have a book that you should write that would help your personal brand. We'll talk about that. And then Friday, we'll do a nice wrap up with some prizes and some fun stuff. All right. So don't forget your homework from today. Go start researching professional photographers, budget for it. Start looking at how much that costs. Start your folders for your inspiration shots for both professional photography and poses that you can try with your own selfie stuff. Okay. With the timer. Try a selfie with a timer with a clean lens. The end. See you next time.